So I was fascinated last night when we were talking. I did not know of your relationship with Clay Walker. Tell me how that came about.
Yeah, so we were both out at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am in Monterey, California, and I had played a song, and Clay was in the audience, and he reached out to my manager and was just like, hey, I want to write with this kid, which is like the biggest compliment ever for me.
That's a huge deal.
I mean, it took me about 30 seconds to catch my breath once I got a call with them saying, hey, Clay wants to write with you, but it was an emphatic yes, just because, I mean, Clay I idolized him growing up. I mean, just hit after hit, and they weren't
the voice is timeless. I mean, to me, there's just a handful of guys, and last night at the show that we were both at, he closed his set doing Troubadour from George Strait.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, yeah, he can do that. There's only a couple of guys in Texas who can really do that. Strait's one of them, and Clay Walker's one of them.
Yeah, I think most people, you try to sing that song, and it sounds like karaoke, but Clay sings it and you believe it.
Yeah.
And it's that true, it's almost like
well, you look at it, you think number one, Clay Walker still pretty much looks the same as he did 25 years ago. I don't know what he's doing, but I want a bottle of it.
Yeah.
And his voice is timeless.
It's a silky grit, man.
You can make an argument, even and this is sacrilege, both of us being from Texas, but Strait's voice isn't what Strait's voice once was. Clay Walker's voice still is.
It holds up, man. It holds up.
It's amazing.
And so I had the opportunity to write with him when he was kind of between record deals and was figuring out what he was doing. And we wrote a song called Need a Bar Sometimes that ended up blowing up for him. And he got a new record deal and got back on the radio and had his first charting single in almost 10 years. And so we got to be really good friends because of it. And so then in December of last year, I flew down to Galveston with Clay to write some more with his record. And we wrote some pretty special stuff, and I'll always be thankful for him because I've since had some pretty great success in Nashville and gotten into some good rooms, but that doesn't happen without somebody of stature kind of tapping you on the shoulder and saying, this guy's good enough to be here. And he was that guy for me.
We talk about this all the time when people tell us they're going to Nashville, and we tell them, we've been there to work so many times. We can tell them where to go to have fun. We've never gotten to have fun, but we can tell them where to go. And we say, look, just for fun one night, I want you to go up and down Broadway, and I want you to go in every bar that's there. And when you come back, I want you to tell me your observation. And every time it's the same thing. Oh, my God, I heard the greatest singer I've ever heard. I say, you know what? Chances are you'll never hear from them because everybody can do it. But it's like you said, everybody needs a break.
Yeah.
And, everybody needs to be touched somehow, some way. You just happen to get touched by Clay Walker, and that's your break.
That was my validation, and that was what opened the door for me. And you're so right, man. It's like you get to Nashville and you have these expectations of things moving fast. And, I had a little bit of heat behind me when I moved there. And then you get there and you realize like everybody in that town was the best in their hometown. So there's no golden tickets or free rides. Like everybody's good enough. It's like, where do you get your moment or your lucky break? And, Clay Walker being in the audience on a random night at a golf tournament was my lucky break. And, for a Texas guy, that's a dream come true.
Now, his current single's Catching Up with an Old Memory, and you told me you co-wrote that.
Yeah.
Was that one of the Galveston songs?
Yes, it was. And so we were just kind of talking about classic country and some of the stuff that we loved and something that Clay could really showcase his heritage country voice on. And we all love drinking songs, but we wanted to put a little bit of meat on the bone. And, a lot of times drinking songs are sad songs where a guy's sitting on a stool and, thinking about what used to be and being depressed about it. But we wanted to put kind of a spin on it where, hey, if you see me here drinking alone tonight, like, don't feel sorry for me. I'm just catching up with an old memory. Like, I'm soaking in the good times. I'm looking back fondly.
Who
on
came
the
up with
things
that
I
hook
had
of catching up with an old memory?
Well, it was just kind of born out of conversation like that, and that's that's how Clay and I like to
now,
write.
Is it I've talked to songwriters before when they come up with a hook or something and they all just kind of like stop and look at each other. It's like a light goes off.
Yeah.
When that phrase came out, is that one of those moments you look at each other and go, wait, write that down?
When it came out, we definitely grabbed it. But we found that we can write the most relatable and real songs if we sit down and just have a conversation about that exactly, life. Like, you know, isn't it funny how all these country songs are about sitting on the bar and feeling bad? What if, you know, like, but do we always feel bad when we're sitting at a bar? I mean, there's, you know, there's some redeeming qualities of it, and like a lot of times when I'm thinking of my memories, they're ones that make me happy, and you know, they're things that I look back on in life that I'm glad that happened. And so it's like you start having that conversation and you figure out how to weave it into a song, and then you create this fictional character and the storyline, and it all kind of falls into place. And then having Clay sing it really brings it to life. But it's a really special song. I know there's a lot of heat behind it already. I think it's going to go to country radio next year as Clay's next single. But it's been a really fun ride to be on.
All right, now let's talk about there's serendipity with us because we're both Texas guys.
Yeah.
And then you have this beer truck song.
Yeah.
That came about because of someone here in Charlotte. So tell me the whole story behind this, because I've only heard bits and pieces.
Yeah, so last year I was in a duo called Waterloo Revival, and we'd had a few record deals and had some mild success. And like a lot of us did during COVID and the shutdown, I was just sitting on the couch one day kind of taking stock of my life and where I was at. And I was just feeling a little frustrated directionally with where the music was heading, and you know, the way the industry was kind of pushing me. And it's a scary thing because you dream your whole life about getting a record deal, and then when it's not going the way you want, you don't really know what to do. And so after a lot of sleepless nights, I kind of was like, you know what? I was like, if I'm not happy, I'm not doing the right thing. And so I jumped and I asked out of my deal. And
now you had a partner in that. How did that conversation go?
It was fine. We've been friends forever, and he is super understanding and just like has a great heart. Cody Cooper, he's still to this day one of my best friends. We still talk all the time, and so you know, it was not without his blessing. He's a great person. Could not speak more highly of him. But I asked out of the deal, and I started writing songs for other folks, and you know, I got the Clay cut. I got some stuff on the Colt Forward record, Tyler Farr. I had gotten a Jason Aldean hold. I had gotten a Keith Urban hold, and all of a sudden, this songwriting stuff starting to take off, and I'm like, man, well, you know, I do really enjoy playing live music, but maybe this is a sign that I just need to be a songwriter. And so I'm down in Galveston with Clay in December. And I'm telling him that. I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to play live music anymore. Not because I don't want to. It's just like we talked about. It's so competitive. You got to find your breaks somewhere, and I don't really know what my lane is or where I fit. And he sits me down on the couch. He's like, son, I'll tell you exactly what you need to do. And I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm like,
because here comes wisdom from the Godfather.
He is about to drop some wisdom on me. This guy knows how to do it. And instead he says, you need to put your songs on TikTok.
So you have a 50-year-old man telling you need to get on TikTok.
Exactly. And so I felt a little defeated just because that was not the advice that I was hoping to get that day. But, you know, at the same time...
I just have this image, and I know he wasn't dressed this way, but I have image of Clay Walker on stage, the starched jeans, the starched button-down, the black hat, sitting there saying, son... TikTok's where you need to be.
That's basically how it went, man. And so, I mean, I felt a little defeated because I was like, man, whatever. You know, that TikTok's for twerking and cooking videos. And so I just didn't think anything of it. And then we go get cleaned up before we go to dinner, and I'm sitting there in my room, and I'm like, man, what could it hurt? You know, so I created an account, and I didn't use my Waterloo Revival name or any blue check marks or anything. It was more to just be an experiment. And, you know, I got 6 followers from creating my account, and, you know, basically nothing going on. And I clicked the country music hashtag, and I'm scrolling, and the first video I see is this girl, and over the top of it, it says men in country music. And then she goes on to say, country music ain't nothing but beer, truck, and girls in tight jeans. And now listen, I will be the first to admit that I'm guilty of liking all of those things, but I also think that there's more to country music than that. And I was in a great headspace already from writing for Clay that week, and so I just, for whatever reason, felt compelled. I was like, man, wouldn't it be funny if I took her lyrics and wrote a real song out of it to show her that a country songwriter could even take that and put some meat on the bone? And so I spent 45 minutes, and I just wrote a chorus, and I posted it on TikTok. I had to get Clay's social media manager to show me how to post. It was my first post. And we went to dinner and came back. Like
That's still so funny to me, but go on.
We came back 3 hours later, And all of a sudden I had 20,000 followers in 3 hours. I was like, man, Clay, you might be on to something. So we're joking around and cheersing, and I kind of thought that was the extent of it. And then a week goes by and I get 100,000 followers. And then there's such a demand for me to finish this song that when I get back to Nashville, I'm like, man, all right, if I'm going to write a song called Beer, Beer, Truck, Truck and put my name on it, better be pretty damn good. And so I spent the day and I wrote the song. And I went to my buddy Jaron Boyer's house. He's a big songwriter producer in town, and I was like, "Hey man, can I just pop in the studio for a couple hours and can we track a demo on this?" And so we did. And then the next day, I posted the demo on TikTok, and it did 3 million views in 24 hours. Just bang!
Holy cow!
And then all of a sudden, every record label in town's calling me. Hey, what you got going on? Can we get a meeting?
So are there people at record labels that monitor things?
Yeah, so they track algorithms and stuff like that, and they've got alerts that if something blows up, they get an email. And so that for me was so fun to just by the most random series of events. I mean random, have that blow up and all of a sudden have all this attention. And so I had all these offers to sign with a record label, and I'm calling Clay. I'm like, man, you changed my life. I can't believe this advice worked, but it did.
And he's like, fine, great, cut me a check.
Exactly. But, even smaller world, I ended up reaching out to this girl. I was like, hey, I don't know if you saw this, but I wrote a song out of your words. I want to put you as a songwriter because I did take your Beer, Beer, Truck, Truck lyric. And so we get to know each other. She's so sweet and was excited. And she actually grew up listening to country music and kind of got away from it. But she said it was like nostalgia for her and reminded her of growing up. And then I come to find out that she lives just outside of Charlotte, and she's an elementary school music teacher. So that was really cool for me to kind of get to learn her backstory too. And now we've got a single on country radio together. So it's been pretty wild, to say the least. And I mean, we did NPR interviews together, Billboard, Rolling Stone. It just absolutely blew up. And so now I've signed a record deal. I'm touring the country. I've gone in and recorded an EP. Just put another song out last week, and really, really big things happening. So, we joke about it, but I'm very thankful that Clay set me in the right direction. Somewhere off a dirt road, somewhere where the stars turn blue, somewhere on a tailgate, I'm laying back just dreaming about you. I know you think I'm crazy, out here just living slow. No, I can't blame you, baby, just thought you should know it ain't our baby truck. Girls in them tight jeans, small town riding around. Girl, I hope you're missing me. I know the city called you. Go, baby, spread your wings. I'll be waiting on you out here in the country. I hope your silver screen beauty queen dreams come true. I hope this whole damn world loves you the way that I do. But if them hills of gold start turning cold and you're done with them new, you've always got a place to come back to your roots. It ain't our baby truck. Girls in them tight jeans, small town riding around. Girl, I hope you're missing me. I know the city called you. Go, baby, spread your wings. I'll be waiting on you out here in the country. Out here in the country. If you ever get to thinking about coming on back, well, girl, you know where I'm at. It ain't our baby truck. Girls in them tight jeans, small town riding around. Girl, I hope you're missing me. I know the city called you. Go, baby, spread your wings. I'll be waiting on you out here in the country. Out here in the country. Out here in the country. Yeah.